My name is Scott with Geno's Garage. I'm going to give a quick explanation of the order of which the Mahle 48383 seal kit would be installed. And then we'll also just cover real quickly the different tools that can be used for installing this front crank seal into your housing. So this is what's going to come in the 48383 Mahle kit. This is technically a depth install tool, and it would be used on the outside facing this direction, just like that, and it's used as the depth gauge as you install the seal into the housing from the back towards the front of the cover. It will bottom out on that, and that will be also centering the seal within its bore, making sure that it's in there squared and not sideways in any direction, which would cause it to fail very quickly. The order of which they're installed is, we're going to picture this is your crank. So your engine's over here. You'll first clean up the crank and you'll install some red Loctite on the inside of this, and you'll get this onto the crank. I use a piece of wood. There's specific tools that are for it, but the main thing is you'll want to make sure that the beveled end is what's going onto the crank, and you'll see that the other end is more flat as opposed to the beveled end on the side that will slide onto the crank. So once this is slide onto the crank, and you'll want to make sure that the butt of it is faced with the crank. So you don't want this hanging over the crank. It has to be flush with the front of the crank. Once that's installed, the next step is going to be your crank seal. And again, this is going to be installed from the back side of the cover going towards the front of the cover. And your lip here is always going to be on the oil side. Your solid lip will be external. I've actually got the dust seal on here that we'll take off. So once this is installed on the snout of the crank, the large end will be pushed over the crank, and as you push that on, it's going to slide over it, and then this plastic piece will slide out. That protects the back side of the lip from getting curled in as you're sliding it onto the crank. And this would be the same procedure if you're using a repair sleeve, or if you're not using a repair sleeve. The plastic piece here, larger end, will be facing the crank so that when you slide it over, it'll push it out this side, the front of the engine, as you're installing it. So the last piece of the Mahle kit would be the dust shield, and this is just a dust cover. The Cummins ones don't come with this. Some engines I see from the factory are with it, and some we don't, but you can see that it's got a little bit of a beveled edge there. And picture this plastic is now your crank. That's going to slide over this, and you can see how it's encompassing that whole yellow seal that was there is now protected with this dust shield to keep any debris that might make it behind the crank from making contact with that dust shield and possibly compromising it. So it is a great idea that Mahle's included this. Not quite sure why Cummins doesn't. And then we'll touch really quick on the two different tools. We mentioned this one that comes with the kit that would sit at the bottom, and then that would drive your depth to make sure it's square. The other way of doing it, and regardless, the seal would always come in from the back side. This is a tool that's specific for installing the seal into the housing. And rather than using a hammer and a punch to go on the metal inside part of the seal to get it in there, now you can get rid of that and then use this, and as you drive it in, it will sit flush once it's installed, and it will be square in there. And this also keeps the chance of slipping with your punch and puncturing the seal and basically ruining it. Ask me how I know. So this is a great tool if you plan on doing quite a few crank seals, or even just one and want to have the right tool to do the job the best way the first time. Any questions about this, please let us know here at Geno's Garage.